If you've clicked on this video, I'm assuming you want some tips on how to beat Ninja Gaiden on Master Ninja difficulty. I just completed this yesterday and it took me a course of a few days to beat, as I just kept seeing the game over screen over and over and over again. But with this video, I'll be helping you and hopefully making it a little easier for you to make it through. So without further ado, let's get into the video. The first tip I want to give is when you're starting off on a new game, you want to use the first chapter as an essence farming level. The way you can do this is by using UTs and getting your combo count really high. Using UTs and having a high combo count will multiply the amount of essence you get from an enemy, and each enemy has their own set of essence that you can get, but again can be multiplied. A good strategy you can use to get essence is to UT a group of enemies, or once you kill all the enemies, leave one left and try to delimb their leg. Then jump and spam your shurikens. Do this about 3 to 4 times. Then, on the 4th time you land, do a charged UT and hit him with a level 2 UT. This will give you the maximum essence that you can get from an enemy. Weapon upgrades are super crucial in Master Ninja difficulty, and if you do it right, you could have 2 maxed weapons by chapter 3. And onto the second tip, I highly recommend you learn most, if not all, of the weapons, because you're going to want to use some of these weapons for boss fights and for taking out certain enemies. For instance, the Falcon Talons are really good at taking out the dogs with the forward XXXXX move. And the Vigorian Flail is really good at taking out groups of enemies. This can be useful if you're bombarded by IS ninjas. If they're clumped together, you can use the XXYY or the forward XXXY combo string. This is good at clearing out enemies and has a chance at delimbing a group of them, allowing you to eliminate a group of them consecutively. Falcon's Talons are good for certain boss fights too, like Zidonius. You're also going to want to learn Enma's Fang for the chapter 17 boss fight towards the end. And speaking of boss fights, if you want a specific boss fight guide or just a boss fight playlist for the Master Ninja difficulty, comment below and I'll go through all the chapters, beat all the bosses on Master Ninja, and give you tips on how to do so. And onto my third tip is using iframes. If you don't know what iframes are, it's invincibility frames, and certain moves will give you this property, such as the wind jump, guillotine throw, Izuna drop, on landing moves, UTs, and Ninpo. You want to use a combination of all of these so you don't keep yourself vulnerable at any time. Just be careful when you're doing Izuna drops, as if you land next to an enemy, they have a high chance of grabbing you. So try to limit Izuna drops away from a group of enemies if you can. It's also important to note the chests that drop Ninpo, as there's fights before some chests that you can just use all your Ninpo to help the fight be a little easier for yourself. So make sure when you're playing on other difficulties you note these chests, so that way when playing through Master Ninja, you're not afraid of using Ninpo. Now let's talk about stunning enemies. There's a few ways you can do this. Using your shuriken, wind jump into head stomp, and some on landing moves with weapons will stun them. For example, the Lunar Staff on landing X. This will stagger the enemy, allowing you to follow up with a launcher and get an Izuna drop. You need to combine all these fundamentals of using iframes and stunning your enemies, and just don't stop moving. If you stop moving, you become a sitting duck and make it easier for the enemies to just bombard you and kill you. Now, on to tip number 4 is enemy prioritization. This wasn't too important when it came to earlier difficulties, but now it matters so much more in Master Ninja. If you come up against a group of enemies and they have a mage or 2 in them, you want to make sure you take out the mages first and foremost, as they will make the fight a living hell for you. The next set of enemies you want to get rid of are the IS ninjas and the dogs. The dogs and IS ninjas both throw shurikens at you and can just be a hindrance and annoyance to Ryu. So after taking out the mages, make sure you get rid of these fuckers fast. And my 5th tip is to upgrade your Inferno Ninpo as fast as possible to level 3. This is going to be useful for boss fights that have enemy fodder in them. For example, the Zidonius boss boss fight spawns 3 Gaja, and Ryu can use his Ninpo to instantly kill all 3, making the fight a lot easier. So when upgrading your Ninpo, make sure you upgrade Inferno to level 3 first and foremost. After that, you can choose to upgrade your Windblade Ninpo or the Piercing Void, as the Piercing Void is the most damaging Ninpo in the game and can literally one-shot most enemies, just not the bosses. The Windblade Ninpo actually isn't a bad idea to max out, as it can take out a group of enemies very easily. If not killing them, it will delimb them, allowing Ryu to consecutively kill a group of enemies very quickly after the fact. And this is going to be a very short tip, and it may be a little obvious to those that have played this for a while, but make sure before you attempt your Master Ninja playthrough that you go through and collect all the crystal skulls. If you don't know, the crystal skulls give you increased discounts in the Muramasa shop. This includes the items and weapon upgrades. So make sure you go through the game on either chapter challenge or easier difficulties and collect all the crystal skulls. I highly recommend you use IGN's Crystal Skull Guide, as it shows pictures of the direct spots and descriptions. If you've already collected most of the crystal skulls, it shouldn't be too hard to figure out which ones you're missing. And last but not least, this isn't more of a tip, but more of a statement and fact. You're gonna struggle on the boss fights. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, because the bosses are a test of your fundamentals and skill of Ninja Gaiden. How often were you paying attention to their patterns in previous difficulties? They are a lot harder, as they hit harder in Master Ninja, but there's certain strategies you can use with certain weapons to defeat these bosses pretty easily. If you would like a boss guide on how to defeat each boss on Master Ninja, let me know, and I will happily go through all chapters showing you how to defeat each boss. But you've made it to the end of the video. I highly appreciate it if you did, and I hope this video helped you. If it did, let me know in the comments below. How are you enjoying Ninja Gaiden, by the way? Are you looking forward to Ninja Gaiden 4? Cause I sure am. Can't freaking wait, as I'll be making content for that game too down the road once it comes out this fall. So make sure you subscribe for more Ninja Gaiden content. Oh, and if you are subscribed for Ninja Gaiden content, I also make fighting game content, such as guides, mainly. So with Fatal Fury City of the Wolves coming out in April, I'll be covering that game extensively, so make sure you keep an eye out. But that's it, this is DarkSense signing out, and thank you for watching.